All right, let's get right into the story. Sorry about before. Nick didn't even end up coming over. He's like, I'm on my way. And then he called me. He's like, oh, let's do it tomorrow. So all that for nothing. And I had to like clean my room and, So anyway, all right, let's get into the story. So really shitty situation. I'm strung out and it's funny that stuff always backfires on me. Like when I try to be a good guy. Because the whole thing is like, I found out that Megan was a pathological liar. That's what her mom told me. Basically, she was selling me a dream the whole time. Yeah, I just got divorced. My husband left me the house and it's in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you can come stay with me. She's a couple years older than me. And then we end up going to Mike Virgin's house and it's literally like an underground brothel where they're producing kiddie porn, which, as I've said before, I was young at the time and I should have just left straight up. In no way am I like endorsing or advocating that behavior. Now, remember I had said that while we were researching the documentary, I found stuff that would connect Mike Virgin in West Palm Beach to the Epstein case, which is true. And I'm going to get into that in a few videos from now. But it's pretty interesting stuff. So I went back to save her because I do, like as much as I say that I'm a piece of shit. I mean, I say it pretty frequently. Hold on. I'm trying to like set the phone up so that it doesn't shake because I know that people don't like that. As much as I say that I'm a piece of shit, I can't light this with my fucking, my hand. As much as I say I'm a piece of shit, truth of the matter is I really do have a good heart. And I didn't want to leave her in that environment because before we went there, she wasn't even addicted to smoking crack. That happened while we were there. But she was a junkie. See, she presented herself as a nurse. She's like, I'm a nurse. I dip into the Demerol, Dilaudid, morphine, and I got addicted to opioids that way. She is one of those people that plays the victim. And I'm sure a lot of you are either former addicts or in active addiction. And I'm sure you can relate with that. You're always going to find a drug addict that wants to play the victim or wants to like minimize like what their role in the whole thing is. See, like the difference between me and a lot of other junkies is I've always embraced it. That hasn't necessarily been a bad thing. And there's a lot of people that do what I do. And it's just like, hey, I'm fucked up and I'm not going to try to paint the piece of shit that I am gold. And there's a lot of people that do that. And the problem with that is that when you paint pieces of shit gold, it starts to stink after a while. Kinda. Hey, dog. Some of the shit you say in your stories is fucking disgusting, dog. Fucking stupid ass white boy. All right, anyway. Sorry. Just felt like doing that. So, I just couldn't, like, leave her there, I already knew, like, what direction it was going to. Because Mike Virgin was a pimp. Him and Eddie had a whole operation going, and I firmly believe to this day that when they saw Megan and I, they saw her as a prospective girl that they could pimp out, or that he could pimp out. Eddie wasn't there when I first met Mike Virgin. So then, after I narrowly escaped that, I had a gun put up to my fucking head. Not the first time that's happened to me. Remember the first time I ever shot heroin when I was in Worcester, Mass. Some black dude did that to me. And then Mike Virgin did it to me when I was in West Palm Beach, Florida. I narrowly escaped. Could have died. My parents are on a cruise to Italy. Call my uncle. He gives me money. I get dope. And instead of just going on and living happily ever after, which I probably wouldn't have because I'm a fucking junkie. I am such a junkie. Or I was. Not anymore. I'm actually doing really good in that regard right now. But what I was going to say is, I felt that I had to go save her. And then I go back there with Lou. He wants to hold court in the street because he's literally on the run for murder. And we all end up getting busted. Lou, me, the brunette. And after, the cop was like, are there any needles in the car? I'm going to tase you if there are, you junkie faggot. And I said, no, there's no needles in the car. There was a bunch of needles in the car, and he found them, and he tased me while I was cuffed, and I pissed my pants because you lose bladder control sometimes when you're tased. And while I'm sitting there in my own piss, looking up, they uncuff Megan, and she walks away. I knew right there and then that I'd been set up. Plus, I had seen the cop, the pedophile fucking cop, that was at Mike's house to begin with. So I already knew what time it was. I knew exactly what happened. I know that Megan set me up. That is what happened. If I had to guess, when I called, because remember, I called Mike's landline. I didn't call Megan's phone. You know, she didn't, it should like went straight to voicemail or whatever the case. I don't remember, this is a long time ago. But what I do know is that I called the landline, and what I'd imagine happened is that they're like, yeah. You know, have him come, and we'll have my cop and his buddies arrest him, set him up. Then I kick the fucking cap of heroin under the car, and it hits the other cop in the foot. So I don't know what they would have done if that hadn't happened, because it was obvious that they were planning on setting me up anyway. So, I mean, obviously I'm really upset. Cops put me in the back of the cop car. They put Lou in a different car. They put the brunette in a different car. I'm looking out the window, and I see Megan walk back up the stairs. She's laughing with the cops. I was like, wow. Just think about that. I went out of my way to go save that fucking whore. And and the whole thing was a setup, and she's laughing with the cops about it. Probably laughing about me pissing my pants. Did you see that? Did you see your ex piss his pants? She's like, hey, he's such a bitch. No, that's Karina's voice. You know, she had the southern voice. Yeah, he's a bitch. That didn't even sound right. Whatever. All right, so cops are bumping music when I'm in the car. I forget what they were bumping. It was a 50 Cent song. Just a little bit. You know that song? Or is that The Game? I think one of those. I think it's 50 Cent. No, it might be The Game. I don't know. It was one of those songs that had just come out. This is in like 05. And they drive me to the police station. And that's pretty common when you get arrested. Either they take you right to jail, or they take you to a police substation, or, you know, where they interview you. Now, I'm thinking the whole time while I'm in the car that I should tell the cops that the cop that set me up was a chomo. Even though he set me up, that couldn't possibly reflect the entire West Palm Beach Police Department. Well, I'd later find out that it did. The pedophile shit in this country is really rampant. Now, I don't believe QAnon. I've done a lot of research on it, and I know a lot about it, and I've been thinking about doing a whole series on it on YouTube, but I think it might be too divisive, because people that believe QAnon stuff really believe it, and this is the thing about it. There's some truth to it. Tom Hanks is not a chomo, to my knowledge. I don't think so. I do know a lot of Hollywood elite, right? And, you know, it's basically a right-wing conspiracy theory that targets liberals. But there's a lot of people that I believe actually are sex offenders that are on that target list. And what they do is they combine fact with fiction. For instance, I believe that Bill Clinton is a child molester. I believe that Donald Trump is a child molester. I believe that Kevin Spacey, James Franco, Jeremy Piven, there's a whole lot, right? And so there's this whole movement going on, but it's politically motivated. And my whole thing is, what I've always said is, hey man, we should get away from the political shit, and we should focus on the issue at hand. And we should all be together against child molesters, because pedophilia is a fucking problem in this country. It's a problem that's not addressed appropriately. You know, you're seeing stuff all the time where people are getting probation for 35 counts of child pornography. You're seeing people like Brock Turner, that white dude, Stanford swimmer whose dad knew the judge, and he got 3 months in jail for dragging a girl behind a, what is that? Is that a mosquito or some shit? I don't know. He got 3 months in jail for dragging an unconscious girl behind a dumpster and sticking stuff in her vagina, taking pictures, sending it to his boys, like, man, I'm fucking this bitch right now. And the judge says he doesn't want to send Brock Turner to prison because he doesn't think what he did warrants ruining his entire life by sending him to prison, because the judge fucking knows how bad prison is. Prison's horrible. I saw people get stabbed. I butt fucked in conga line. Dun, 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 dun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. It's totally inappropriate. It's fine. It's awkward now. The story's awkward now. Fuck. There's like some prehistoric fucking bugs around here. Okay, so anyway. Why am I going into this rant about pedophiles? Because this is a perfect example of firsthand experience I had with this shit. It's not about left or right. I'm not even a fucking liberal. You know, everyone says, you are a liberal. I'm not. I grew up in a liberal home. You know, I believe in certain liberal stuff, but I believe in certain conservative stuff. You know, I've become it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into the political shit, but just so you know, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. They're all the same side, and they're all just out to keep them rich and keep us poor, and that's what it is. They're both the exact same fucking side. And I think a lot of them are child molesters. And I think that it's a power thing. That's what I think. You know, I talked about this with some people the other day. Some actors I know. We were having this conversation. And I was asking them, I'm like, well, I mean, you guys are in the Hollywood hierarchy. What do you think of this? And we had a discussion, like, why? Why would these powerful people be child molesters or rapists? This is the thing, all right? I read Mick Jagger's memoir, right? And he was talking about how he'd go to concerts and he had like a manager and like assistants and stuff that would kind of scout for the prettiest girls. They would handpick them. They'd stand in a line outside of his hotel room. They'd handpick these people, and he'd just go and fuck them one by one or have orgies or whatever, right? And he was saying that sex became so blasé to him. He became so desensitized that he started butt fucking dudes. I can't relate to that. I mean, I can never, ever see myself being like that. Like, man, this pussy, it's fucking played out, man. I'm trying to suck some cock. My homeboys are like, hell yeah, dude. Let's go to a nightclub and find some dick to suck. Oh, dude, look at that guy, bro. Banana Republic t-shirt. Bet he butt fucks like a fucking hog, homeboy. No, that would never happen to me. I don't think. I mean, unless I'm like inundated with fucking crystal meth or something. But what happens, like, why did Mick Jagger butt fuck guys when he's heterosexual? It's because at a certain point when you can have everything, you're desensitized. Same with like Charlie Sheen and shit. So what these guys do is it's just like when you do drugs, right? You start with like alcohol or weed, or, you know, you start doing these PG-13 drugs. Maybe you do some ecstasy, take some mushrooms or something, and then you go for the cocaine, the crystal meth, or the heroin. Eventually you keep seeking stuff that gives you a bigger rush, because the weaker stuff doesn't quite work for you anymore. And that's my theory with pedophiles. Why these guys that are in positions of power molest kids or rape women it's a power thing. You know, I think Donald Trump is a fucking rapist because he's had everything he wants. You know, money, even an ugly Oompa Loompa fuck like that gets supermodels because of the money. It's not it ain't his bomb personality. I'll tell you that. It's not his fucking toupee or whatever the fuck, or his bomb ass tan. It's the money. So when you can get pretty much any girl you want, you start getting on these weird little power things. Now, is that true for someone like Johnny Depp? Fuck no. And people will say, oh, dude, he's addicted to adrenochrome. Fuck no. You know what the difference is with him? He parties. He doesn't take, you know, he doesn't manifest itself sexually. It's more of a drug thing for him, you know, or alcohol thing or whatever. So with all that being said, I learned from a young age that there's a lot of corruption when it comes to stuff like that. So, and remember, I hadn't been to prison yet. So, I mean, nowadays I would consider this snitching. I don't know. When it comes to pedophilia and stuff, Is it really snitching if you get law enforcement involved? I don't think so. But where I'm at now in my life, like if I ever found out somebody hurt Nico that way, I'd kill him. Zero fucks given. Because I know that the law won't do enough, and I know a lot of the lawmakers are in on it. Disgusting shit. I don't think that the world's run by satanic pedophiles and the Illuminati. I don't believe that. I know enough people that are in like kind of like, you know, elite positions, actors, influencers, people like that. I've had conversations with them about it, and I don't think so. You know, I think that the world's run by money. But I don't think that it's like Satanists and shit. Maybe. I could be wrong. What do I know? I've been to prison 3 fucking times. But we get to the police station. They ask me if I want to talk. I do. They bring me into an interrogation room. Now I'm handcuffed. And they ask me why because they found 2 caps of heroin. Or whatever it was. I don't really remember. They found 2 things of heroin. I'm pretty sure it was pill caps. Might have been balloons. I don't even remember. Because it hit his shoes, so I don't know. Is that a pill cap? I don't remember. They asked me why I had 2 different bags of heroin. Because on the East Coast, a lot of times, maybe it's not in a literal bag, but if it's in like a balloon or if it's in like a little bundle thing, it's a bag. You know, like if you go to rehabs out there, like in California, it's all grams, right? We do black tar out here. It's all grams. You buy a single gram, you buy a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 4-pack, a half piece, a piece. 3-pack is 3 grams, whatever the number of the grams. 4-pack's 4 grams. A piece is 25 grams because of the metric system. So everything is quantified in 25. 25, 50, 100. Everything's in 25. So when you get an ounce of heroin in California, it's called a piece, and it's 25 grams. It's not 28 grams. So we get shorted 3 grams because of the metric system, because that's how the cartels measure things, right? In 25 gram increments. Half piece is 12 and a half grams. And, piece goes from anywhere from like 400 to 2,000, depending on how good the heroin is. And it differs in quality quite a bit. But out in the East, so like if you go to rehab out here, if you go to like a detox in California, they'll ask you how many grams you're doing. Well, how big's your habit? How many grams of heroin you doing a day? When you go to a rehab on the East Coast, they ask you how many bags you're doing. So, it's a little different in that regard. So they asked me why you have 2 different bags. Why you got 2 different bags? And I say, hey, listen, the larger, much more important question is, why do you guys support child molesters? Excuse me? I said, yeah, the officer, one of the arresting officers, and I described what he looked like, is a fucking pedophile. He's involved with child pornography. Her name was Peters. Officer Peters is a child molester. Come on, man. Hey, Javi, come here. Hey, say it again. Say it again. Say it again for Javi. Yeah, he's a fucking chomo. Oh my God. Okay, so okay. All right. Tell me why he's a child molester. Tell me now. Why is Peters a child molester? I said, because I was living at this house, and he was fucking underage girls there. That's all. I did not say anything about Mike. Nothing like that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to not even get out. And see, I wasn't telling the cop about this guy to try to get out of trouble. I was telling the cops because I wanted this motherfucker to get in trouble because he's a chomo. Now they're laughing at me. So now they're saying, well, if I saw such a thing happen, why didn't I stop it? And that's a good question. Why didn't I stop it? What am I going to say? I was on drugs? Really, from what I know now and the education that I've received growing up in the federal and state system as a convict, I should have fucking killed those guys right there and then. I should have never, by allowing it to happen, it's not saying that I condone it, but that was weak of me. I didn't leave there for a number of reasons. I had I had Megan kind of, swaying me not to, not to leave. We have it so good here. Why would we go? That kind of thing. So these cops, one of them black, one of them white, they're kind of like laughing at me, and they leave. So like we're in this classic interrogation room, right? I'm handcuffed. I have my hands behind my back, and there's like a big mirror. Obviously, it's a two-way mirror. So there's probably people watching, or maybe they have a camera. Who knows? Simply, I'm making this assumption because of what I've seen in television, in movies. It's probably the same shit that you guys have seen. And a lot of times, obviously, stuff in films are based off things that happen in real life. So I'm just sitting there. Like after I tried to explain to them that this guy Peters, one of their co-workers, one of the officers at their department, was involved with pedophilia. And I said I was at this house and I saw him have sex with an underage girl. Even though I didn't see him have sex with an underage girl, but remember I went to go get a beer and I saw the guy in uniform. I look at him and he looks at me. I go back in Mike's room. I'm like, hey man, there's a cop in your living room. And Mike was like, he's like, yeah, it's one of my clients. So what? One of your clients is a cop? He's like, yeah, so what? You got a fucking problem with that? Nah, man. I'm cool. Being a chomo's cool. You ain't cool unless you a chomo. So I'm waiting there. I want to say about an hour. Cuffed. Again, I had pissed my pants, so I'm sitting there, and anybody that's, ever gone swimming, if you're a guy, I don't know if this is the same for a girl, but you start getting a fucking rash, I have a rash from my own urine, and I'd also been tased, which, I don't know, they're like the after effect of that sucks. I know that I'm going to be dope sick. So like the psychological aspect, because I know I'm going to jail. My heart fucking drops when the door opens and the officer walks in, Peters, and he looks angry. And he just sits down, right? And I'm like, I'm cuffed. I know I'm fucked. And he sits down, folds his arms, and he looks at me. I don't say anything. It's like a staring contest. I'm just looking at him. He's looking at me. And then he goes, hawks a loogie right in my face. It goes on my forehead and like drips down my eye like a tear. And I'm like, oh, and I can't even wipe it because I'm cuffed. He's like, why are you making shit up, man? I don't say anything to him. He gets up and he starts hovering over me. He's like, why are you making shit up? Do you want more problems than you already fucking have? Now, like, I'm in this, like, I don't know, like old plastic chair, and he pushes me with all of his might, and I just fall, and I hit my head hard on the concrete, hard enough where I start bleeding. Now, if you hit your head and you just get a little nick on it, it can bleed quite a bit. I must have like fallen with enough force, probably because my hands were handcuffed behind my back. I fall and I hit my head with enough force where it cuts it open. Like I'm literally bleeding. And I have a loogie on my face. And he just leaves me in there. Blood is coming out of my head. I can see it. So like I'm on the ground, right? And I'm looking like this and I can see blood. Like I had no idea. Usually when you get hurt like that, the very first emotion that you feel is fear, right? You see blood, you get scared. And I remember sitting there, I had this rash, I had a loogie on my face, and I'm looking at my own blood, and I'm in custody. Megan just set me up. My parents are in Italy, and I just started fucking crying. I was so frustrated with what was going on. I just start crying. I'm looking at my blood. I don't know how much time goes by. Probably 10 minutes. Cop comes in, brings a rag. They put me up, start kind of like, trying to get the bleeding to stop. And it wasn't a very bad wound, but I hit my head hard enough to bleed. So, that's pretty bad. How many times have you fallen on your head and it actually bleeds? But that's what happens with your head. If you even get a little nick, you start bleeding. But it was still scary. It's scary to be handcuffed and that's not the first time that's happened to me. And it's not going to be the last. And you'll hear on the third prison term stuff, I'll start getting into some of the times I got beat up in the state system by cops. You know, once you get to state prison, that shit happens. So, you know, they're cleaning up the blood and everything. And I'm crying. And just because they're there, you know, I don't have free hands where I can like put them to my face and like, you know, because sometimes like when you're crying and somebody like walks in and you think you're alone, you try to stop crying. So I'm just looking at them. I got this loogie like on my face. Looks like I got nutted on or something. And I'm crying. And they start like, so one of them's like, you know, kind of like, like tending to my wound. Another one is like, he's like, man, he's like, you gotta toughen up, man. We're taking you to West Palm Beach County Stockade, man. We're taking you to Gun Club first. You're going to get eaten up by wolves. You're going to get eaten up by the fucking wolves, man. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Is it because you got caught with dope? He's like, hey, man, you're not in that much trouble. The fact that you have 2 bags, that could be a problem. Because now it looks like you're trying to sell them. So like this other, you know, the guy's like has the rag to my head. This other guy's talking to me and he goes, but you just had, and he's being nice to me. They're doing the good cop, bad cop, right? The guy that's tending to my wound is the nice cop. This guy that's talking to me is not being nice to me, right? But he starts like he starts off being mad and then he starts getting nicer. And he's like, you just had the 2 bags. So you could sell one and do it for free. You're not really a drug dealer, right? And I go, yeah. It's the first thing I said, right? And now they wipe the loogie off. And he goes, don't worry, man. It's just a head injury here. And he keeps the pressure on my head. Because remember, I'm cuffed. And he asked me again. He goes, that's it, right? You're not a drug dealer. But you have 2 bags so you can sell one to do it for free. I said, yes, that's right. He said, good, we're charging you with possession with intent to sell, you fucking idiot. We got you on recording saying that you had this dope and that you intended to sell this dope. And I learned right there and then never to fucking admit anything to police again. Ever. I fucked up right there. You know, he was being mean and then he started being nice. You know, they were doing the like I said, the good cop, bad cop. And the guy that was tending to my wound, obviously he's like, I'm looking at him as the nicer one. He's not really saying anything to me though. You know, he's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to keep pressure. You know, don't worry, it's not a bad wound. I go, okay, so you got me on tape saying that this is my dope and that I intend to sell it. Then you also have it on tape that this fucking pedophile just came in here and spit on me, pushed me on the ground, split my fucking head open. I know that can't be legal. And they're just like, you're the one that was crying. You're the one that's crying. You're going to be someone's bitch in prison. I hope you know that you're going to prison for this. You know what kind of laws we have here in Florida? You're fucked. You are fucked. And I'm just like, that makes the tears come out even more. And I'm just crying. And they're like, you know, they're taunting me. It was like being in a fucking horror movie, man. It's just crazy. So eventually they put me in the car and they take me to Gun Club, you know, which is located in West Palm Beach. And, you know, I guess it's kind of comparable to the Twin Towers in LA. Not really. I mean, the Twin Towers in LA is much worse, but it's like a building, you know, it's like a tall building. It's called Gun Club. And I don't remember much. I do remember that when they put me into booking, you know, they're taking my thumbprints and everything. And, you know, they told me that I was being charged with possession with intent to sell heroin. That my bail was like, I think $300,000. And I remember being in the drunk tank and that somebody had brought crack in with them and they had a straight shooter, probably stuck it up their ass. And there's probably like 4 guys in there. So they were passing it around. I got to hit the crack pipe a little bit. And that made things even worse. You know, my head was throbbing from when the dude had pushed me over. He literally like split my head open. I mean, I didn't have to get like staples or stitches, but like I said, I fell hard enough where I was bleeding like that. And then I was smoking crack. So what I did, oh shit. what I did is, you got to remember, like, this was the period of time back in '05 where cell phones, I had one. I had the Razor phone, but, it was like still a time period where people memorized phone numbers. Like nowadays, how many of your friends' numbers do you know by heart? I know Jeff's number by heart. I know Paul's number by heart. I know Karina's. I know my parents'. Probably the only reason I know all these people's numbers by heart these days is because I've done so much prison time. So I'd have to call them when I'm in there, right? Back then, you'd know, like, you still use landlines quite a bit. So I knew all these people from Santa Barbara's phone numbers, ex-girlfriends, shit like that. So I started and I didn't know my uncle's number, by the way. Remember, my parents were in Italy, so he was like my contact. He's like the guy that I was supposed to reach out to if something like this were to happen, but I didn't know his number by heart. Remember, before I had to have the collect lady track it down. It doesn't work like that in jail. They'll give you free phone calls when you're in the drunk tank, but you have to know the number. You can't talk to an operator. So I ended up calling people from Santa Barbara. And one of the first people that I called was one of my exes, this girl, Brenna. I dated her freshman year of high school, and she ended up like becoming like a really popular girl. She was like head of the varsity volleyball team, and she's like straight laced. She wasn't like me. And I turned into like a straight druggy loser. She'd be like going to like prom, and I'd be like playing hacky sack with the beanie, being like, I'm so stoned, man. And she's like, she like put $1 in my hat that's like on the grass. I'd be like, hey, I'm not homeless. She's like, get help. Okay, Ryan. And she's with this like big, hot, tan football guy. And I like see a bulge in his pants, and I'm just like, I look at like my friend, and he's like, let's go drop acid. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. All these other people are losers. That's pretty much how it was. So I call her. I hadn't talked to her since I was like, probably like a sophomore in high school. Go, all right. And she's like, hello? I'm like, hey, Brenna. Now remember, I just smoked crack too. So I'm like very monotone. Crack does that because I'm coming down instantly. It's not like we were smoking a ton of crack. This guy just gave us all a hit. She's like, hello? Ryan, is that you? I go, yeah. Where are you? I'm like, I'm in jail. She's like, no, honestly, I didn't know that. I'm like, what do you mean? When you call, it goes, you have a free call from Ryan, an inmate at Gun Club, a Florida jail or some shit. She's like acting all naive. She's like, are you on drugs? I'm like, yes, I'm on crack right now. But hey, she's like, oh my God. Everybody in Santa Barbara thinks that you're going to die. I was like, well, I probably will because I'm in jail right now. And I'm the only white guy. I'm like looking around. Like the guys that I was smoking crack with in the tank were all black. All Haitian black guys. And I'm like the only white guy. Like, every time they talked to me, they were calling me Cracker. And she's like, yo, hey, Cracker, hey, how much longer you gonna be on the phone, man? You fucking piece of shit white person. I'm like, I don't know, can I talk for a couple more minutes? They're like, nah, man. All right, so anyway. Sorry, I just got a text message. So, basically, Brenna was like, one thing I'm not gonna do is enable your addiction. I was like, well, why would you be enabling my addiction? I just need you to bail me out. She's like, how much is it? I'm like, 300,000. She's like, oh my God, I can't help you. And then it was just a dial tone. I was like, hello? That was that. Call a couple other people. Then I call this other girl that I was kind of dating when I was in Florida. I knew her number by heart. And she's like, you're a fucking joke. You know that? And you know what? When we were dating, I was cheating on you. I was like, why are you telling me that now, you fucking bitch? I hung up on her. I'm just like, God damn, man. What a bad last 10 hours of my life this has been. So while I'm in the tank, I see they take Lou in, right? And they put him in like a different tank, but I see him and he's just like has his head down. He looks like Charles Manson or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's not what he looked like. He was like some stocky Italian guy from New York, but I'm just saying, like, he had his head down. He looked like someone that was in like a lot of trouble. And he was about to get a life sentence. So anyway, I call a bunch of people and nobody will bail me out. Now, I knew that I had swallowed some of the dope. That's why I think that it wasn't in pill caps, because I definitely remember swallowing some because this happened. So I'm starting to get dope sick. I already had like the psychological terror of it going on, right? Especially because, like, I'm not exaggerating when I'm talking about these Asian guys being like, yo, hey, cracker, hey, man, you's a bitch, man. And then, like, he give, like, his Haitian friend high five. Yeah, you told that little fucking white sucker bitch. Oh, man. He's like, hey, do you know what the rape towers is? And I was like, no. Oh, man. Oh, man. He's like, when you get in your housing unit, they're gonna make you do the group showers, and they got these things they call the rape towers. And they did the big towers, and they got the COs in there with the guns, man. Because so many white boys like yourself be getting butt fucked and raped and shit. And I'm just gonna be honest with you and be straight up, man. I love your lips, man. And if I'm in your unit, I'm gonna fuck you in your butt, man. I was like, oh. I have AIDS, and so do I, bro. So do I. It's like, fuck, man, the AIDS thing isn't working. I'm fucked. I'm like walking into a fucking prison cliche where I'm gonna get sexually abused. Interracially sexually abused. By Haitian dudes. Maybe the occasional Puerto Rican will come, like, fucking make me suck his dick or something. Oh, man, no, I'm from Cuba, bro. Yeah, just keep sucking that shit. Oh, thanks, man. Come on. I'll give you a suit, bro. Yeah. I tip my punks. Little bitch-ass dude. That's the kind of shit that I'm thinking about, right? So, I do know that I swallowed some heroin. And they have the metallic toilets in there. And I have to shit. The onset of my dope sickness is definitely coming on. And I know that I have to take a poop. And it's very interesting. They touched on this in the movie Trainspotting. But heroin makes you constipated, right? All opiates do. So when you get dope sick, you're not constipated anymore. And what happens is your stomach starts brewing and you get this volcanic diarrhea that just erupts out of your asshole. It spews out. It's like a fucking muddy sneeze, man. Yeah. You know, and if you have like balloons in your ass, like I've been dope sick and brought balloons with hair. It like pops out of your ass like a ping pong. It's like, and like shoots out. You could like aim your ass at someone and like shoot your balloons at them because there's so much pressure in your volcanic dope sick diarrhea, right? So I remember going and sitting on the toilet and like, so if you're in jail in California, dudes are more respectful, right? They're not going to watch you shit. As soon as I take my pants off, all the fucking Haitian dudes, there's about 5 or 6 of them now, they go and they sit so that their vantage point can directly see me. They're all looking at me, these fucking weirdos, man. I'm looking at them and I'm like, I just sit on the toilet and I'm looking at them and I'm just like, man, I'm going to get raped. I need to make this as disgusting as possible. So I just sit down and I'm just like, Haitians, seriously, it looks like it makes them even hornier. They're like biting their lips and shit. I'm like, oh my God, dude. These fucking gay wolves are about to pounce on me. You know what I mean? I don't think they expected me, though, as soon as I, like, did this insane, you know, volcano dope sick shit, to turn around, right? I don't even put my pants up, right? I just have some shitty ass. I turn around and I stick my arm in the toilet. It's literally like, you see where like the shark is? Like where my elbow is? That's like how much shit is on me. Like, No bullshit. I start feeling around, seeing if I can feel any dope. And you hear them and they go, that is some weird fucking white boy right there. That boy is cold as fuck. Fucking junkie ass white boy, man. I'm sitting there, I got this shitty ass like to them. And he's like, man, he got an ass just like my baby mama's bash though. Man, I hope I'm housed with that white boy. I'm like, ew, dude, this is so fucking weird. No dope. So now I just have shitty hands. Now, remember, I've talked about this before. When you get into a drunk take in any jail, anywhere in the fucking country, the pros, the real convicts, which I am now, and I always do this, they will grab the toilet paper and they'll use it as a pillow. And I have shit all over me. Now remember, I also piss my pants. And I look in the meanest of the whole crew, this big old black dude has the toilet paper. And I go up to him and I'm like, hey bro, can I use some of that toilet paper? He's like, hey, what do you mean by bro? Bro? I was like, oh no, man, I'm from California, man. Oh man. So you must be a faggot. And I'm like, I just want to use the toilet paper. He's like, well, what you gonna do for me? I'm like, are you kidding me? It's just like the movies. These guys are trying to fuck me because I'm white and I'm a midget. Fuck this shit, dude. I'm like, you know what? I'm cool. I just take my shitty arm and I start wiping it on my shirt, and you hear one, oh, that boy right there is foul as all fuck. I like it. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm sitting there, these like horny, gigantic, gargantuan fucking Haitian guys are hitting on me. I have shit all over. Every person that I call is a lecture about how I'm a drug addict. You are such a drug addict. I got one more number I can try. My ex. The one that had tried to kill her dad because her dad molested her. The one where I flew out to Boston, hit him with the skateboard. My first love. I hadn't talked to her in, man, it'd been a long time. I knew her number by heart. I call and she picks up. Now, I tried to call her a bunch of times when I wasn't in jail, and she'd never returned my calls or anything. That's like the one girl that when we broke up, I was low-key kind of creepy about it. I was like always calling her. I'd fly to Boston and go outside of her window, watch her undress, finger bang my ass with the fucking pickle, while listening to Moby, getting all emotional. No, I made up the Moby part, but everything else is true. So she picks up and she's like, now you got to remember, this is like my first love, man. She picks up, and I swear to God, when she picked up, instantly I wasn't even dope sick anymore. She's like, hello? I was like, oh my God, Kay, you picked up. She's like, Ryan? I was like, yeah. She's like, what's up? Where are you? And I was like, I'm in jail in Florida. She's like, oh my God, why? I was like, it's a long story, but basically, like, I got kind of entangled in this weird, with these weirdo people, and they kidnapped this girl that I was seeing, and I got set up by these, like, pedophile cops, and my bail's $300,000. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. I said, yeah, do you think you can bail me out, babe? She's like, are you serious? She's like, you think I have $300,000? I'm like, you don't need to pay $300,000. I need 30 G's. She's like, 30 G's? She's like, I can like put $30 on your books or something. I was like, well, yeah, that'd be cool too. I was like, to be honest, I'm just like, I'm just happy to hear your voice. And she's like, I know. She's like, I got, cause I had left her a message when I was at that rehab watershed. She's like, I got your message and I actually called you back and left you another message. And she's like, you you were like a really bad influence on me, and you were really emotionally abusive, and it's taken a lot of therapy just to like kind of forget about you. She's like, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that I still had feelings for you. And I was just blown away. I mean, despite the shitty day that I was having, this was like the best thing that had happened to me in a long time. And she's like, I think about you all the time, and sometimes I call people and I check in with you on you, and I'm always thinking about how you're doing. And you know, she's like, you were my first love too. And like instantly I'm forgetting that there's these Haitians that want to fuck me in my ass, and that I have shit all over me, and that I have this rash from pissing. And I'm like, will you write me? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. Thank you so much for picking up. Like, you have no idea. Like, just hearing your voice is bringing me out of like what's going on. She's like, are you okay? I was like, not really. Fucking cop just beat me up. And she's like, oh my God, are you serious? I was like, yeah, and he's a pedophile. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, okay, call me back in an hour. Maybe I can ask my little sister. She's an attorney, and you know, maybe or a paralegal. She's a paralegal, and maybe I can borrow some money for her and help you. I probably can't come up with all of it, but I might be able to come up with some of it. Call me back in about an hour. I was like, okay, cool. I get off the phone, and like, amazingly so, just hearing her like really like gave me kind of the strength to keep fighting forward. Like, I got this reset, this recharge in energy. And right at that point, they call me to my housing unit, or they call me to, you know, to do my linen or whatever, like to be housed. So they take me out of there, you know, they do my thumbprints and all that. And they give me like, I think a wristband or whatever. They give me my linen and shit. And I end up, the only thing I can think about right now is Kate. Like, that was the first time that I talked to her in like years, and it actually sounded like she still had feelings for me, and like maybe we could reconcile our, you know, our relationship or whatever. So they bring me to this unit. It's barrack style. They got group showers in the back. No rape towers like this guy was talking about, but not at that particular spot. Get in there. I'm literally the only white guy. There's probably like 40 guys, all Haitians, maybe 4 or 5 Puerto Ricans, and they all look at me like gay wolves. And if you don't know what I mean by gay wolf, what I mean is they look like gay wolves. Wow. My hand. It's fucked up. Puffy, huh? So, I get in there, and, you know, I never found my dope. So now I'm starting to get sick, and I go make my bed. You know, there was an empty bunk. It was a top bunk. And, I go make my bed, and, you know, some black guy comes up to me. He's like, hey man, what's up? I'm so-and-so. It's like, hey, I'm Ryan. Oh, all right, cool. What you in here for? I'm like, they got me with heroin possession with intent to sell. He's like, oh boy, you fucked right now. You fucked. You hear? You are fucked. You're gonna get 10 fucking years, if not more. I'm like, that's not what I want to hear right now. And I was like, hey, how do I use the phone? And they're like, you can go right there. And like, so, you know, there's payphones on the wall, just like most jails. So I make my linen. All these people are staring at me. I'm too young and naive to really like understand what's going on. And I get on the phone to call Kate. She doesn't pick up. Call again. She doesn't pick up. Call a third time. She doesn't pick up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go lay down for a little while. Try her again in an hour. She's probably talking to her little sister or whatever, trying to get the money. So I go and I lay down, put the blanket over me, and amazingly I fall asleep. So I wasn't fully dope sick yet. I wake up in the morning and I'm completely sick. And it's one of those things, every time you go to jail, it's such an emotional thing to get arrested. And it's so exhausting. You go to sleep, and I've experienced this phenomenon many, many times. You wake up and you like, for a moment, you don't remember where you are. And then instantly when you realize that you're in jail, it's like a dagger going through your chest. My head hurt from getting beat up the day before. I also had been tased and everything. You know, I didn't even take a shower, by the way. I still like smelled like shit from my own shit. They kind of just like soaked into my skin. Of course, I changed out of my street clothes and put on the scrubs that they give you in the jail. And I'm lining up for breakfast. I'm like drowsy, drunk with sleep. I grab my tray, and they actually feed really good at Gun Club. It was like French toast, eggs, and I think sausage. And I go sit down. I'm not hungry. I'm dope sick. Starting to like feel really like sweaty. My nose is running. You know, I was on methadone for about a month at Mike Virgin's, and I was doing heroin, and, you know, I had a habit, and this is my first taste of kicking methadone. Now, methadone carries you for about 24 hours, but remember, I'd already left Mike Virgin's, and I had gotten dope from TJ, and then I'd gone to like that black chick's house when they were like trying to keep us there because Lou had owed them money. And, you know, I grab my tray, and I don't know where to sit, you know. I've never done time where it's like where I'm the only white guy. So I just go to like a table by myself. You know, everybody's like in conversation and everything. You eat in the unit. It's like one of those units where the tables are in the unit and they bring the food to you. And I'm just about to bite into my French toast. It was either French toast or pancakes. Some black dude comes and he just takes my tray. And he's like, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" He's like a Jamaican guy. And I just look at him. I have no energy to fight him. I'm just like, fuck. You know, walk up to my bunk, and I just put the blanket over me and try to go to sleep, but I can't. And it's about to get really bad for me in this place. Real bad, real quick. I got punked out for my shit in, you know, the first day. If you can imagine what's going to happen next. It was not good. I didn't lose my yeets, though. I still got those. I love you guys. I'm gonna try to put up a bunch of videos this weekend. I'm gonna try. You know, I really do appreciate everybody on Patreon. You know, especially when you're in the $10 tier up. It really helps me, man. It's how I pay my rent, and I'm eternally grateful. Thank you guys so much. Palabra.